So today's topic is about something that applies to everyone, and that's love. Whether you're single or you're in a relationship or you've been married for a very long time, one thing that's important for all of us to understand is how to love ourselves. And the three main components of self-love are self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, and self-care. So let's get into what that means. So self-acceptance is really one of the hardest parts to get over. Once you can accept yourself and understand yourself, the rest starts to become just a little bit easier. But the thing is, self-acceptance starts at a very young age for a lot of people. We don't inherently hate ourselves, right? It really depends on the environment we're raised in, the people we see, how they treat us, and how they treat themselves. That gives us, really models what love is to us. So, really the biggest part about accepting yourself, it's not just about your body, but your personality as well. So if you grew up in an environment where somebody, maybe a parent or somebody who is a constant in your life was putting you down, telling you things that were wrong about yourself, telling you that you didn't belong or that you didn't deserve to be loved. If somebody, told you that at a very young age, you're more likely to start to believe that. But here's something interesting. An interesting thing about that is, let's say somebody tells you something really harsh, right? Like, they tell you that you don't deserve to find love. How does that make you feel? Does that anger you? Does it upset you? Or do you agree with them? Wholeheartedly accept and actually genuinely believe that they are correct. If it bothers you, even in the slightest bit, even if you deny it, if it bothers you, the reason why it bothers you is because you know it's not true. You know or you feel that you deserve to be loved. You understand that, and the reason why it hurts so bad when somebody told you that is because you know it's not true. You don't want it to be true. That's why it hurts so bad. So if somebody, told you something really negative your entire life growing up, or even now, and if it hurts you, or if it bothers you, if you dwell on it, the reason why you dwell on it is because you know it's not true. Some part of you, even if it's hidden deep inside, beneath all of this denial, some part of you understands that you are worthy of love, and that you are better than whatever they are telling you. Some part of you believes that and knows that. You know that you're worth it. So I wanted to make that very clear. Now, it's actually biologically proven that every human being seeks approval from their peers. The reason for that is because of ancient survival. Really, you have to, in ancient times, you had to listen to one another to survive. If you didn't listen to the common, census, you were more likely to die. So, really, that's where it all kind of stems from, and it's still relevant to this day, except maybe it's not about survival, but, the desire for acceptance, it's in all of us, just a little bit. It sucks, but it is. But you know what? The only people you should really listen to, the only people you should desire acceptance from are the people who truly, know your worth. I once heard something like, they said, why would you accept criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from? So just remember that. And if we're talking about in terms of your body, really, you can go, every time you get changed or take a shower, you pick apart all the parts about yourself that you don't like, and you dwell on it. You rest on those thoughts. And it just makes it even harder because you're like, I wish I were different. I wish I looked this way or that way. And if you have the right money, you really could change that about yourself. You could change your outward appearance. But would you still be satisfied? Just because you changed the way you looked, there'd still be something about yourself you wouldn't like. You would have a fear of somebody judging you or not liking you. And a lot of times it happens. If somebody, let's say that you had like a more defined nose and you were made fun of for all your life, they tell you should get a nose job. And when you actually do get a nose job, now everyone's hating on you, telling you, oh, it's fake, you got a nose job. So really, if you think about it, there's just no winning, right? You were just doomed from the start. It's just, no matter what culture, what religion, what country you live in, there is always a beauty standard. It may vary from place to place, but there's always a beauty standard, some kind of way that someone wants you to look. And there is no winning. There is no, pleasing anyone, because everyone has preferences. So just know that, you should really only look the way you want to look, not for other people. Aside from appearances, a big part of it is your personality. A little advice I have for you. If you really want to get to know yourself, you need to talk to yourself. And I'm serious. I'm not sounding crazy. It is proven. Because what do you do when you want to get to know a person? You talk to them. What do you do when you're talking to a person and you want to get to know them? You listen. You listen to what they say and you ask them questions and you challenge them. That's how you're going to get to know yourself. As any chance you get to be alone with yourself, take it and enjoy it. It will be uncomfortable at first. It always is. Our minds are actually meant to get bored. We're so used to just any, spare time we have when we're bored. The silence is too loud and we turn on the TV or we scroll on TikTok or do something like that. It's hard to really embrace the silence. But after a few minutes pass, you're not even thinking about it anymore. You're in your own thought process. Maybe you're thinking about something you did that day or one of your goals or dreams, whatever it is you're thinking about. Sometimes some really unsettling questions will pop up in your mind. You think about the bigger scheme of things. It may get existential, but you need to. Boredom is actually super important for your life. You need to open up those hard questions with yourself. I mean, really be honest with yourself. It's uncomfortable at first, but once you can be honest with yourself, really ask yourself, how am I really feeling about this, and be honest, that's when you can go from there and put boundaries in. And that's one of the next parts. Self-acceptance can be a lifelong journey for some people. And some people have a bit of an easier time with it. Usually people who were raised in an environment that was supportive. Not everyone's that lucky. And it's really sad, but I want to tell you something. I don't know who you are, or if you had a Valentine this year or not. It doesn't matter. If you haven't heard it today, I'll be the first to say it. You are enough. Everything that you are, the person you were born as, the person that you are today, has never changed. You are an incredible, unique soul, and just take care of yourself, because nobody else can do it for you. And I'm telling you this right now. From the moment you were born to right now and for the rest of your life, you're gonna go to sleep at night, and guess who you're gonna wake up with? Yourself. You may sleep with a partner, you may sleep with, a pet. Doesn't matter where you fall asleep at, how you get there. When you wake up with yourself, and you spend every waking, existing moment in your life with yourself. Shouldn't you know the person who you're walking with every day, the person who you are literally living with your entire life? You should know yourself more than anyone. And it may seem hard sometimes, But, don't let anything interfere with you getting to know yourself. It's so very important. You must take care of yourself and you must cherish yourself, even if nobody else does. Because that's the only way you're gonna get through life, really, is if you can accept yourself. I mean, you're stuck with you, man, and you should love yourself. You really should. But another part is self-forgiveness. One of the hardest things for me in life was learning how to forgive myself. I have a very guilty conscience, and anytime I hurt somebody, I felt so bad about it, and I promised myself I would never forgive myself. Forgiveness isn't about justifying it. You can say, you can do something absolutely horrible and acknowledge what you did was wrong and still forgive yourself. You can acknowledge what you did was wrong and understand that because you feel so guilty about it, honestly, that shows how good of a person you are. If you understand how it hurt somebody, if you understand that it was bad, that it was a mistake, that's already really the strongest, arsenal. That's really the strongest weapon in your arsenal, is the fact that you understood and you felt guilty about it. Now what you have to do is understand, that it had to happen. Yeah, it was horrible, but sometimes you really have to learn things the hard way. We're not always thinking. Sometimes we're in a really bad place and we do things without thinking it through. So maybe I'm sure there was a reason why you did what you did. And if you do know what that reason is and you accept it, that doesn't mean you're justifying it. It just means that it happened the way that it happened. And if you could do it over again with the knowledge you have now, you would, right? So it's okay to forgive yourself. It's okay to be easy on yourself. It doesn't always have to be a challenge. Life is give and take, and you have to sometimes slow down a bit. And that's the next part, is self-care. Self-care is not about overconsumption. It's not about face care or, taking really expensive baths with bath bombs or anything like that. That's not what self-care is. Don't let them fool you on the internet. They've taken that word, which is so very powerful, and they've materialized it. Self-care is being gentle with yourself when the world is hard on you. It doesn't mean letting yourself go. It doesn't mean being lazy and excusing everything. It just means knowing your boundaries, knowing your limits, and slowing down when you reach that limit. And that can be emotionally, it can be physically, whatever it is. Sometimes we have to reach a place where we learn our limits. Like, let's say you pulled an all-nighter, and it was fun at the moment, right? You didn't think anything would happen, but the next day you're exhausted, you can't work, you can't focus. And you realize that you have a limit. You can't stay up all night, and you need to give yourself a moment to rest. There will come a time when you get to have fun, but understand when is the right time and when is the wrong time, and that's taking care of yourself, is learning from that mistake and going to bed at a reasonable time. I mean, that's just one of many examples. Let's say, you have a friend, right? And you love your friend, you do anything for them, but they are emotionally exhausting you. They're asking so many favors of you, and you're making promises you can't keep. And you're letting not only them down, but you're letting yourself down because you're not putting yourself first, and you're putting so much of your priorities out of the way just to, help them. And that isn't healthy, So, understanding where to draw the line and drawing that line and taking care of yourself. Maybe you went through a really bad breakup and you just cannot, you're emotionally and physically exhausted. You can't go to work. Just take the day off, And if you absolutely do have to work, remind the people who you're working with that you're going through a lot, and just be slow with yourself. Don't push yourself beyond what you can take. I know sometimes the world really throws us into tough situations and we don't always get a chance to take a break, but if you do have that opportunity, take it. You're really going to need it. Self-care isn't always about, pampering yourself. That can be a nice luxury, spoiling yourself. It's nice. Sometimes you need it after a really rough, moment. But a lot of the time, self-care is just understanding your limits and respecting that. You have to take care of yourself if you love yourself. I know my advice might not be the best. It may be pretty weak or cliche, but these are things that I've really realized in my life over time. And if I could really get more into it, I would. Maybe if you guys liked this video or something, if you have any extra questions, I could probably elaborate on it if you want. We all grow at different paces. There's no need to feel ashamed of, learning your limits and learning about yourself. But I really do believe this. At any chance that you can, talk to yourself. Talk about anything in the world. You should be comfortable with yourself, right? If there's something bothering you, if you really can't tell anyone else about it, at least talk to yourself about it. Put yourself in other people's shoes and, just try to see things from all perspectives. It's super healthy. You learn a lot about yourself, a lot about how your mind works, how you handle certain situations, and about the world in general. There's so much importance to it. Whether you write it down in a journal, or you talk to yourself out loud, or maybe you channel it poetically, but I really think that you should just be as expressive and raw about it as possible. No one is here to judge you, alright? Just take it from me. I might sound crazy, but I love myself. I accept myself. It's taken me a long, it's been rough here and there, but it's taken me a long time to learn how to forgive myself and actually take care of myself, but you'll really appreciate it. Alright? And confidence. Confidence is so important, Confidence doesn't always mean being loud or strutting your stuff or taking over, the room. Sometimes confidence is just, knowing yourself, understanding yourself, being able to, have inside jokes with yourself. That is lit. That is genuinely one of the coolest things to be able to do, is have inside jokes with yourself. Love yourself, Write a love poem about all the little weird quirks you like about yourself. Maybe other people might, see in you. Maybe they don't. Who cares? What do you like about yourself? Weird little quirks. Maybe you can, see smells or hear or see sounds or something, or maybe you have weird little nicknames for certain things. Whatever it is, be proud of that. Be proud of it. Confidence doesn't always mean, giving total Leo vibes when you walk into the room. It's not always about that. Sometimes confidence is quiet, but there's so much that goes into it. But the most important part is that you'll always have yourself. So you need to take care of yourself, Love yourself and love others, and just be patient and gentle with yourself. Push yourself when you need to. Just, But I guess that's it. I don't want to ramble on too much or anything, but yeah. So take care of yourselves. Bye.